When I was 19 years old, I got shot trying to rob a corner store. In 2005, me and my homeboys, we were selling drugs, sleeping around with different women, and fighting different neighborhoods, and that was the lifestyle that we loved to live. My mom, she was paying $1,400 a month for rent, and she told me that she was falling behind. And me selling drugs at the time, money was coming slow. And so I was just like, bump it, because I remember making a vow to myself that we'll never have to sleep in a hotel again, because that's what happened before. And so when she said that, that's when I just got into any means necessary. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to get the money, to help her out. We ended up just driving around, right around the corner, and next thing you know, we were debating about robbing that store. And so I was just like, I don't care, because I know my mom needed help on that rent, My two homeboys, they didn't want to do it because everybody knew about this store, Like, they had big artillery, they didn't play. But I didn't know, and I basically didn't care. So we were debating, who was going to hold the door, who was going to drive, who was going to do this, who was going to. And so I just put the shirt over my face, basically. Put the shirt over my face, tied it up, and jumped out. Had the gun in my hand, and went in, pushed the door open, and put the gun to the clerk, demanding the money. But I saw on my rear, like from the back, coming from the back, my homeboy, came in. So once he came in to the side, I was like, okay, now I can move my head, and look at the other surroundings. And by the time I looked back, I just saw gunfire. Wow, like, and that's when I fell to the floor. And I'm like, dang, I got shot. I got shot. Put myself up and ran out the door and went to the back. So I was convicted of attempted armed robbery and sentenced to a prison term of 4 years in prison and 2 years probation. I got out to my mom being deceased. So that's what, like, it crippled me. Like, that's what I wanted. I wanted to come home to mama, and make sure everything is good, and she gonna make sure that I'm okay. But it wasn't that. Mama had done passed. So I had to change my life. Either I can change it or go back to doing what I was doing. And it was tough because that's all I knew. My cousin, he was working up at Urban Youth with Mr. Bill now. And I knew about Mr. Bill and all that, but I didn't want to have no dealing with him. And my cousin, he was like, well, if you want that job, you can go out there and talk to Mr. Bill yourself. Now, I had a lot of pride. I wasn't coming. And after a couple of weeks passed, I was like, man, I gotta do something. I gotta get up and do something. And I wanted to work. I talked to Mr. Bill, and he was telling me, I can get you a job, but it's up to you if you're gonna keep that job. And I thought I was gonna get that job right then and there, but I didn't get it. He was just testing me. And so he told me to go back and whenever I'm ready to come in and let him know. So I stayed a couple more weeks, drinking, smoking, going to clubs every weekend, and it ended up getting bad for me. Like I was going down further than I was, than what I was doing before. And then I came back. He put me to work doing maintenance at the facility. He was coming at a young man who didn't like to be told what to do, had all this pride, and I had to drop that pride, and it took a lot. Now is when words can't even describe, how loving, because in the scripture it say, perfect love, casts out all fear, and when you have love that just loving on you, the way how urban youth do, you can't have no walls up. Those walls gonna come down eventually, and you just gonna have to receive the love that the Lord used through urban youth. And if you don't want to receive it, then you must be crazy.
All this pain, I wonder if I'll ever find my way. I wonder if my life could really change at all. All this earth, could all that is lost ever be found? Could a garden come up from this ground at all? You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of us. All around, hope is springing up from this old ground. Out of chaos, life is being found in you. You make beautiful things. You make beautiful things out of the dust. You
My name is Terryon, and I'm the Facilities Manager / Disciplinary Director at Urban Youth Impact. And this is my son, TJ, and I'm raising him up to be a fine young man. And that's a beautiful thing.